Welcome to the JT and Looney live stream podcast.
Hi.
NFL Divisional round playoffs today. We're actually working. I only work if it goes past 45 minutes. So we're working for free for 45 minutes on a Saturday as I'm Backyard Brick in Summerlin here in Vegas on what is just a glorious day. Tom, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We can almost say the sun is shining so bright in Las Vegas right now. We can almost say your backlit palm trees back there. But it does seem like it's going to be a very trepidatious weekend for Buffalo Bills fans. I will tell you that.
Yeah, it's that time of year again, which is pretty incredible because you grew up in Elmira, New York. I grew up in Long Island, but I went to college in upstate New York, and we know a lot of Bills fans, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And imagine living your whole life, your entire life in January. So you're 40 years old, you're 30 years old, you're 70 years old. You get to January, you have Christmas, New Year's Eve, you set new goals, and your football team always loses in January. And now we go into February. So this can't be I don't know how to describe it. It can't be a comfortable time for the Buffalo Bills fans, can it?
Well, I will tell you this. There's 4 years in a row they went to the Super Bowl, and that was it. And if the people are, if you're of a certain age, you remember that. And if you're not, then you don't. And otherwise, the Bills have almost always been bad. They were bad. They were good when they had OJ and not great. 80s, awful, and then got better at the end of the 80s, and then had their 90s run of the Super Bowls, and then awful for a while. And then they're back being good again. So Bills fans have been long suffering, and Bills fans are happy to have a playoff game to cheer for in January in the big picture, because it's not always been the case in the big picture. Unless you want to go back to Jack Kemp years long before our time. But so we're happy to have them in the playoffs. As you know, I'm always glass half full when my teams are in the playoffs because most people don't get to experience that period. So looking at the moment and the snapshot of the moment, it would have been a good year for the Bills to make a run without Kansas City, but we'll see if that happens because they're going to have to do it by the tiny little hair on their chin.
Yeah, they have 3 receivers out, as in out. They can't play.
Yep.
The Niners have a bunch of guys out. I thought that we'd possibly see, and we'll get to the Niners in a little bit. I thought we'd possibly see Fred Warner, whose practice is opened, but he's not cleared to go today. No George Kittle and no Nick Bosa. So those are not
for the Niners. It doesn't matter for the Niners when you're talking about injury reports. Niners all year so well coached. Doesn't matter who plays, they win.
You're right. And the Seahawks with Darnold was we woke up today and Drew Lock. You believe Drew Lock got all the number 1 reps this week? Reports are that Darnold didn't throw the ball, didn't throw it. He didn't practice all week, didn't throw it all week because of the oblique injury. Dr. Tom Looney, would you like to let us know what an oblique injury is and why that would affect former USC star Sam Darnold?
Right. And, Sam Darnold being questionable doesn't always mean he's not going to play. It just means he's questionable. He's questionable when he does in big games. He's gotten better he's regular season Sam now. But in big games against good teams, not always so good. An oblique is in here, if you're watching on YouTube, along the side. It's everything you use when you throw something. So it's all along your stomach and your abs, and it's not something you would want if you're in a throw. It'd be easier to play if he could shoot himself up and then play a different position. But even at quarterback, they'll probably give him some cortisone, which you shouldn't have too many shots of in a lifetime, and shove him out there in the first quarter. That's Dr. Tom's guess. And we'll see how it goes from there. They're lucky it's not cold.
Yeah, I mean, the weather, it shouldn't play big of a role. I got a couple of buddies up there. A buddy Trigger in Seattle is going to the game and some other friends, and weather won't be that big of an issue. But we'll start in the Mile High because this is Bo Nix, who I watch play all year in the AFC West with the Raiders. And Raiders lost to Denver 10-7 in a game that they absolutely outplayed Denver. They were the better team. Denver will tell you that. But Bo Nix did something late. And every other game this year, down 30 to the Giants in the fourth quarter, they come back and win. Whatever happens, whatever happens with this team, they get to halftime. Denver's an interesting team to watch. Don't watch the first half. Go do something. Go to lunch. Do something. Don't watch the first half. It won't matter. Denver will make adjustments, and then Sean Payton will grab Bo Nix in the locker room by the shoulder pad and say, "Do you got it?" And he'll go, "Yes," and he gets it. And then all of a sudden, every throw he makes is on time, and they win. And they win these really tight games today. Again, for Buffalo, I'm on the Bills. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. The Bills better not effing lose to Bo Nix because they got a history of losing to everybody. They lose to Troy Aikman twice in the Super Bowl. Okay, Jim Kelly's pretty good. They lose to Mahomes. They lose to Burrow. They lose to the Patriots in the playoff. Whatever it is, there's no excuse for Buffalo to lose to Bo Nix. They get the best player in the world, the greatest rushing touchdown quarterback in the history of the red zone. Josh Allen's got to will his team to this victory, Tom.
And it's interesting the way you described the Denver Broncos in this game. You could also describe the Buffalo Bills as sometimes they don't show up in the first half. And with a wink and a nod to the Bears, there's another team that doesn't show up in the first half. And then Josh Allen has to be grabbed by the lapels, and they say, "Do you have this for us, please?" Or actually, no, they get his coach. McDermott gets on his knees. Could you win this for us, please? And that's what's going to happen in this game because these are both teams that don't start out strong. One interesting stat I did see this week is the Denver Broncos and their defense has not played well against good quarterbacks. So they've been bum slayers all year against some bad quarterbacks, and they don't play as well against good quarterbacks, and that's good news for Bills fans.
Yeah, before we wrap up this game and go to the next one, what's fascinating about this postseason is New England's played nobody all year. It's the easiest. I saw on NFL Live, it's the easiest schedule in NFL modern history into the playoffs. Now they have to play real teams. They do. So let's see what the Patriots will do. They were bum slayers during the regular season. Denver, no real big surprise with Denver. They just haven't played well, but they're winning all their games. And then I thought the easiest schedule in football was the Niners. I mean, the Giants are a terrible team, and they had the fourth hardest schedule in football, and the Niners had one of the easiest. But the Niners, as you said, as we opened it up, everything you say about the Niners, forget about it now. They are just so well coached. They got every single coordinator on that team interviewing for head coaching jobs. Now, remember, they're in preparation, so they're doing it on Zoom. But they are preparing. These guys with their notebooks who are Niners coaches, Tom, they're interviewing for head coaching positions. They're focused on their head coaching position as much as they are on the game plan for these games. And Niners in Seattle have like 7 coaches who are interviewing for big jobs.
Yeah, and I have a conspiracy theory that network cameramen have cash dropped off to them, like big bags of Breaking Bad cash dropped off to them every week to put Robert Saleh on TV so he stays front and center for the next coaching position, because every time the San Francisco 49ers does something well, we see Robert Saleh. Every time they get baked, we don't see him. So there's been every year in and year out, there's a coordinator that they fall in love with, and I think it's these broadcasters, forgetting the joke about the cash and the cameraman, the broadcasters sit down with coaches and assistant coaches, and you can tell who they drink with. You can tell who they spend extra time with. And Robert Saleh is obviously one of them. And he must have a lot of goodwill because they're showing Robert Saleh a lot, the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. And they probably should show the entire coaching staff because they've done an amazing job with all the injuries they've had this year, and it never mattered.
That name drop alert. I have Chris Myers on my show, the Emmy award-winning broadcaster from the NFL on Fox. And he's been doing this so long as a sideline reporter and now a play-by-play voice for a long time. He knows all these quarterback coaches that become coordinators and become head coaches. He knows them all because they send those guys into the production meetings. They'll send the offensive coordinator and they'll send in another coach. So Chris and I were talking this week about the coaching carousel. Almost as overused as Spags. It's coaching carousel with all the coaches that are available. But do you think Robert Saleh, because he's a good-looking man and shaves his head and looks tough, is on TV more so than Clint Kubiak and some of the other guys a little bit smaller?
Yes, newsflash, on television sometimes looks count. It's so funny that the Chiefs defensive coordinator. Who is he? The Chiefs Spags. Spag. If we have, he must really be a fun guy because they mention him as more than any other coordinator. And you can tell that they spend time with these guys and like these guys. And that's great because, you should promote your friends. And if you feel like you're becoming friends with somebody and you want to have good things happen to them and you happen to have a network platform, go ahead and help your friends out.
Okay, so it's time for our pick in the first game because we don't have a lot of time. So if you're watching or listening, you could kind of understand that we're live streaming, but we want to get this up in podcast form. I know Benny and the Penny already addressed this game. There's odds, there's everything happening. In the early game, obviously, if I pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl, I'm not like some of these heinous people out there that change their pick. They changed their pick. They gave their pick in August and they change it in November.
No.
Some of these scoundrels change it before the game. I got the Buffalo Bills beating the Denver Broncos 31-24 over the total, high-scoring game. It doesn't come down to a field goal. Buffalo wins this game. Buffalo outright. Speaking
of heinous broadcasters who changed their pick, I spoke with Arnie Spanier this week. He says, "Hi, James."
How is this thinking genius?
He's great. He's always a very positive, fun person to talk to. Buffalo Bills are the team of my youth. I cannot pick this game with any objectivity whatsoever. I do think it might be an easier game for the Buffalo Bills. I don't think there hasn't been any easy games. Every playoff game so far has been unbelievably competitive and good. This might be the first one that's not because of the Denver's habit of not playing well, that defense against great quarterbacks and very good quarterbacks. They're good against bad quarterbacks. Buffalo 24, Denver 10.
Buffalo 24.
Yes.
I'm putting this in my chat with my Buffalo guys. Buffalo, would you say 24?
Denver 10.
10. Wow. I can't go that. I can't say that Sean Payton and Bo Nix are scoring 10 points in a playoff game at home. That would be very Justin Herbert, who scored 3 points in the playoffs. How would you like to be Justin Herbert's girlfriend? And every year, I think the new starlet, or they come up to him and go, "Wow, everybody said you're great. Everybody says you're great. And then the playoffs start, you suck." What is it like to be Justin Herbert? I would do it. I'll say this on the record. If you can get Justin Herbert as a quarterback for the Raiders, I'll go pick him up, and I won't pick him up to the airport. I'll drive to get him there. He's unbelievable. He just can't win a playoff game. He will. He'll eventually win. I always say this now with Herbert. Watch the Elway documentary. Watch all the losses. Watch all the extreme losses his first 5 years. It's Justin Herbert. But, the Chargers are out. So you're going Denver, really not exploding on offense at all.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to manifest that, of course. When it comes, I say that not only the John Elway documentary, because his last 2 years of his career, he won Super Bowls. Otherwise, he struggled for lots of different reasons. But I say that about Josh Allen, about Lamar Jackson. Okay, remember, John Elway won the last 2 years of his career, and they're just as good as John Elway.
Yeah, they are. And, look, the thing about the AFC West, I'm living in the cycle, the rinse-spin cycle of the AFC West, where the Raiders did go to the playoffs 4 years ago with a guy by the name of Rich Bisaccia, who took over for John Gruden after there was a hit against John Gruden, and John Gruden was taken out and having a great year. It's tough to make the playoffs. My ultimate goal is clearly simply this. All the teams, we should have started off the podcast with this. This time of year, I root against teams that affect me. My whole life, I rooted against the Eagles, right? I don't like the dirty, stinking, green, drunk birds. Now I'm in the AFC West, embedded 28 seasons. I root against the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers if the Raiders don't get in the playoffs. Raiders didn't get in the playoffs to get the number one pick. They were so bad, they were terrible. They weren't bad, they were terrible. So the only thing that would be icing on the cake, Kansas City, they didn't make the playoffs. Chargers scored 3 points and lost. They didn't win a playoff game. And if the Donkeys go down today and Denver goes down, none of those teams would have won a playoff game. Like the Raiders this year didn't win a playoff game. That's what I'm rooting for.
I'm the one that's usually the fan of the sleeveless vest. I just noticed a great coincidence. Even though you made such a great point, all I could see was your shirt. Take off that sleeveless vest and look what the wardrobe department gave you to wear. And the wardrobe department gave me ZZ Top Fandango as a coincidence. 2 different cities, LA and Vegas, and we went rock and roll today. How about that?
We love live music. We got a lot of people here who love live music. Now we move to Lumen Field, which should be called Seahawks Stadium. I don't know why we do this. What was it, Safeco Field or Lumen Field?
I just know growing up at kids, we knew where Riverfront Stadium was, and we knew where Three Rivers Stadium was, and all these stadiums have these great geographical names. Mile High Stadium, Jack Murphy, named after a journalist. So it was so much more fun back then. Now get off my lawn and let's go to the next game.
Well, as we give our Seahawk Niner pick here, I will say that for the last 20 years, I've been going up there because the Raiders always play the Seahawks in the preseason, always. There's always a game up there in August, and the years I was the sideline reporter, they'd go down to me in garbage time. JT the Brick was always great in garbage time. Let's go down to JT. It's the 4th game. Whole bunch of guys are in you never heard of. They're never going to make the team. They're never going to play in the league again. JT, who do you have with you? And I'll interview someone. And in Seattle, in the 4th quarter in August, I couldn't hear myself. It's that loud the preseason. Wow. Now, for my buddies who are watching and listening, I got a Seahawk group of friends. I'm going over to my buddy Ross's house today to watch some of the Seahawk game. These guys are diehard. They were there for the earthquake, Marshawn Lynch game. These guys are freaking diehards. And they want to be positive today, but they know that Sam Darnold, as you opened up the show, is always questionable. Even when he's 100% healthy, he's questionable. But I am leaning with the 12s today. Here's why. There's a lot of Niner fans who are getting in that building. Niner fans from Silicon Valley have money. Seattle is the Pacific Northwest. They got big money. Microsoft, Amazon. These are tech fans. They're tech money. They are fighting each other to get in. If Seattle does their job and keeps the Niner fans out, and it doesn't make it feel like there's Niner fans there, it's going to play a difference. It's a hard place to play. Brock Purdy can play. He can win anywhere. He can beat anybody anywhere. Yep. But I'm going with the Hawks in this game because of their running game. I think they love to run the ball. They ran it down the throats of people this year. They got a 2-headed monster at running back. They got enough playmakers on the outside. All right. They got players who can make plays. So the Niners have been injured all year, but man, the Niners are playing with house money today. I think it's going to come down to a late field goal. I got the Seahawks winning 24-23, an absolute Pacific Northwest nail biter where Seattle's going to have to get in field goal range. And I hope it isn't Drew Lock in the 4th quarter in for Sam Darnold with the oblique. I got the Hawks winning.
And remember, there is a mantra in Vegas where you live, where people gamble. People gamble everywhere now, but especially in Vegas, which invented it. And that is, if you have a divisional game, which this is, they see each other a lot, even though it's a playoff game. They see each other twice a year. And you're getting 7 or more points. You just take the points. And the 49ers are getting 7 at the Stardust as we speak. And so, yeah, that is. And so if you're a betting person, you got to take the 49ers because they could outright win this game because no matter what injuries they've had all year long, their injury report never mattered. And that matters. And Brock Purdy matters, as you were mentioning about if we don't know the quarterback situation for the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm guessing Sam Darnold's going to play, and with the oblique, you shoot it up. But that's because if that's throwing motion, that bothers you every time you throw. It bothers you when you breathe or reach for a cup out of the cupboard for a cup of coffee if your oblique is messed up. So I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. No matter what their injury report has been all year, they win.
Wow, Looney.
I don't care about the schedule. You play the games in front of you, and they won their games. There's plenty of teams in this league that had easy schedules that didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, San Francisco 49ers are going to win this game. And even if Sam Darnold does play, he tends to tighten up during big games. And so San Francisco 49ers 24, Seattle Seahawks 20.
Wow. Okay. Looney's going. That would be for all you gamblers out there. That would be Looney telling you, take the Niners on the money line.
Oh, absolutely.
Take the Niners straight out on the money line. That's a Looney play.
Hey, one quick thing before we move on to the next game, because the producers are asking me in my ear what you're going to be drinking at Ross's house. When you're
there'll be Well, this is interesting today. We have a guy that you met at my party, who's one of my dear friends. He was my mentor in real estate. I had a little dab in commercial real estate back in the day. And my buddy Roger's a huge wine snob. So he's taking us to dinner tonight on the Strip, to a great steakhouse on the Strip. And he's bringing the wine. He's bringing the Magnum. And here's the best part of the story. Don't wake my wife. She's over there. My wife's having a dry January. My wife's having a dry January. I am not, for the 50th year in a row. I am not having a dry January. So I will start off with some beverages at the Seahawk party. Then I'll go to the steakhouse and they'll start out and they go, would you like a cocktail? Normally I'd order a Tito's and soda. I will say, no, I'll defer to Roger and the wine. And he will pour some great wine. Now, remember, I love this part of the podcast where we go off the reservation. Couple things. The new thing that I described in Vegas now is when you go to a steakhouse, you do not order 4 steaks. This is very important as I look in the camera. This is the rule now. When you go to a steakhouse, you do not order an individual steak per person. You share your steaks. You order the steaks. When they say, how would you like them? You say, the way the chef prepares them. That's the line. You never in a steakhouse say something, well, I want it rare or I want it, no. You're at a steakhouse. There's a chef in the back who cooks steaks. Don't come to that steakhouse if you're going to tell the chef how to cook a steak. And then you split the steaks and you have some light sides. And then by the time your meal's done, you go, oh my God, I'm full. You know why you're full? Because you ordered a lot of food. What happens in Vegas is people all order steaks. And then at the end of the night, the server picks them up and half the steaks haven't been eaten. It's too much food, Tom.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm a big fan every night of sharing a ribeye. Every night, listen to me. I'm like I'm in the mafia. But there's a lot of nights people be surprised how many nights I have a steak, and I will split the ribeye. You're absolutely right. There's 63 grams and 63 grams of protein and 8 ounces of ribeye. So you're depending on what the sizes of the portions, but that's great advice. And as you get older too, especially above 40, as we both turned recently. It's better to make your portions a little bit smaller as well. So that is great advice. And your advice about how to order the steak, always as the chef prepares it. If you grew up eating it, usually it's people that grew up eating it well done. That's after age 11, stop eating your steak well done, branch out a little bit, and you will find out. And this was me. I grew up in Elmira, New York, very middle class, lower middle class area, and we always had steak well done. Came to LA, got into bodybuilding, and Tom Gartner, Mr. USA, told me, gotta eat your meat rare. And I would get rare steaks from Norm's. And then I realized, wow, tastes great. Tastes so much better. So that's how I ended up.
Yeah, my buddy Dave was watching the stream, said we shared a tomahawk at Chef Barry's last night. They shared a tomahawk. They didn't order 2 tomahawks, right? They shared. Yep. So the reason why you need to share in Vegas going forward is, I'm the mayor of Vegas. I'm the sports mayor of Vegas. Right. And I'm the only guy on the radio who doesn't take cheap shots at Vegas. I'm the guy in Vegas that loves Vegas. But we've done podcasts and we've talked about now how Vegas is outpricing themselves and they're gouging and all of this. So, from the $14 bottles of water in your hotel room to the $30 parking to all this bullshit that they're doing now, which is driving me nuts. Don't give them extra money. Save the extra money for the tip, for the server. Right. Go in there. And the other night we went to a Mexican place at the Cosmo, had a buddy in town, part of the new JT rule. If a friend's in town with an expense account, they pay. You'll come, you'll bring the entertainment, you'll play. Yeah. But, order less food in Vegas. Order less food, have more cocktails, have more fun, be lighter on your feet. You're going through casinos. You're the women who come to Vegas who are 7s. When they get to Vegas, they're 8s. The 8s are 9s. The 9s are 10 because everybody who comes to Vegas, they want to look better than they look in Ames, Iowa. They want to look better than they look in Buffalo. Oh. So everyone's looking good. You want to be light on your feet. You don't want to be, I had a baked potato and I had Brussels sprouts and I ate a steak. And I got dessert. So another JT the Brick rule. A, I never order dessert, never have in my life. If someone's having dessert, I don't downplay it. You can have a cheesecake. I don't order dessert. B, I don't look at a menu. I've never looked at a menu at a steakhouse or an Italian place. I know what I want before I go in. And See, always tip your servers well. But in Vegas, what they're doing, be careful, Tom. Be careful.
Oh, they're
In
double
Vegas,
dipping you.
they're jacking you. They're including the tip or some bullshit fee.
And they don't
some
tell you.
fee. And don't tip on that number. How dare you tip on their bogus little thing that they added into their check? You take the number and always tip over 20% and go as high as you want. But you got to do that.
You take the which I didn't, by the way, I didn't know this for years. You take the, and that's okay. You take the pre-tax number and tip that 20%. And I didn't know until the digital age when they started giving tip suggestions of what it was. It made me feel good. Oh, good. I've been over tipping all my life. But you do have to watch out for those charges now. So ever since the pandemic, they got these secret charges in there.
Yeah, Vegas has lost their way. I got a lot of casino partners on my show, so I'm always careful. I don't mention specifically because I got a lot of partners in Vegas that I really love, and they're great. But when you come to Vegas, if I was running Vegas, which I should, I would have a press conference in front of these casinos, and I would say, we are lowering everything, our room rates, our bars, our food, 20%. We're taking 20% off because we've been jacking you up 200%. We're going to take 20% off, and everybody come on in here and have a cocktail again and get a room that isn't $600. You're not going to be in your room. You're going out. We're not going to charge you $750 on a Thursday night for your room. We're going to charge you $250 and come to Vegas.
That's what Artie Moreno did with the Angels. Remember, he lowered all the beer prices. He held that JT press conference and said, we're going to have the cheapest beer in Major League Baseball. And people loved it.
Yeah, let's move to the divisional round on Sunday.
Great.
Where a shameless plug, I'm on Mad Dog Sports Radio, 9 a.m. to noon, Sunday morning Pacific. That's noon to 3. I'm your national pregame show. Oh, and a quick reminder, I'm a solo host. They don't give me 7 co-hosts like the other networks do. When you tune into the other networks and you see a guy on the radio, like, oh, my guy's on the radio, I can't hear him talk because he's getting interrupted by guys behind the glass who are wearing costumes. They're wearing costumes and they're grabbing the mic and they're talking. When you hear me on the radio, you're just going to get me, maybe a guest, maybe a soundbite or two. But I'm one of the only solo hosts left, Looney, who can still do this.
Yeah, it'll be just you ranting and nobody else talking. If you consider that a promo, then go ahead.
Yes. Well, this is weird because my producers are pretty good, but I think they're ready to come on the air with me because they're good enough. They're fine, but I don't know. I just got a clock in my head. I want to do a good job. We'll go to the Texans at the Patriots.
The impatience that you have as a broadcaster drives the show and makes it better. People don't realize that. Okay, Texans
at Patriots. As you mentioned earlier, the Niners, like they just win. Well, that's the Patriots. They won 4 games last year, 4. They lost their opening game and got dominated by the Las Vegas Raiders and Geno Smith. Geno Smith had one good game. Imagine this. He threw for 4,300 yards, 70%. That's why he came to Vegas. Oh, JT, why'd you get Geno Smith? Geno's freaking good. Geno went to the Pro Bowl. He didn't go to the Pro Bowl because he got a letter in the mail. He threw for 4,300 yards and was 70%. So the Raiders got him. Shouldn't have been the choice. It should have been Sam Darnold. We get it. But Geno ripped up the Patriots. Vrabel was 0-1. Then Vrabel gets the 2 seed because of Drake May being an MVP candidate. The Texans have the best defense in football right now. I don't trust C.J. Stroud as far as me and my gorgeous pool behind me. I want to see the Patriots go down. I'm not a Patriot love affair guy, but man, they're hard to pick against at home, Tom. I think I'm going to do it, but they're hard to pick against.
The Houston Texans remind me of the 2000 Baltimore Ravens. Because the 2000 Baltimore Ravens started out mediocre and then stopped losing football games around Halloween time. And it's the same thing that's happened to the Houston Texans. Overall in the NFL, the best unit in the entire league is the Houston Texans defense. It'll be a rough and tumble, boring, low-scoring game because the Houston Texans make it that way. They don't blitz. They don't have to. They rush 4 guys. When they blitz, they're not that successful anyway. They just rush 4 guys and kick your ass. And that means they're always going to have the rest in coverage. And this game's all about defense, and Texans dominated the Steelers at the end of the beginning of the fourth quarter against the Steelers. It was 7-6. The final score of the game was 34-6. So
Yeah.
or 34-7. They dominated the Steelers on Monday night. Patriots abused the Chargers, though. They got to the way they got to Justin Herbert, so they can play defense too. So watch, just like the Steelers Texans game. The end of the score at halftime could be 3-3. Houston's also getting 3 points in this game, which is crazy because I think that they're the better team, and the Houston Texans are going to win this game 21-20.
So we got two. We've only done 3 games. We have 2 Tom Looney money line bets. Money line bets. He's going Niners on the money line and the Texans on the money line.
Well, yeah, the Texans are getting 3 here anyway. So, but I think they're going to outright win the game because, as Mark Twain said in Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, defense wins championships.
Another a failed crack reference that only a few people will get. If you're listening on the radio Saturday, like sometimes I'll run an errand, which I never do on a Saturday, and I'll turn on the sports talk channel and the gambling channel, and they'll be like, the host who's working the weekend for a $30 an hour shift, maybe $30 an hour. He's like, I'm on the Texans. And I pull over. I get so mad. I pull over in the middle of the freeway, and I'm like, I'm yelling at my car radio. What do you mean you're on the Texans? You're making $20 an hour. You're the weekend board op. They're giving you an on-air shift. You're filling in for someone. How could you be on every game? So when Tom Looney says he likes this, Tom Looney will throw 20 or 100. You're normally a 20 guy. You'll throw 20 on the app, or you'll throw 100 on it. But I love when the weekend board op who gets the host he's on every game. He's got a bet on every game. It can't be true because most people lose while they're gambling, and that would mean the board op who's the weekend host is working for free, Tom, and that wouldn't be smart.
And the smart thing to do with a lot of games during the regular season too is stay away from them. Pick and choose the games you bet on very, very carefully. You don't have to bet on them all unless you're in Vegas. You get a parlay card. You're having some fun. But in general, most games are just stay away. You just got to find you pick your spots.
Yeah, I have the Texans winning 26-24. Odd score, but yeah. I like the other scam artist said. I handicapped the game. It came out 26-24. For me, I like the Texans to win because of the defense is it's just ridiculous. And the Patriots have been bum slayers. They played nobody. Their record against non-500 teams should go into Canton, Ohio. It should be framed as you walk into the Hall of Fame. The bullshit schedule that the Patriots have been dicing through. So I think that comes to an end in Foxborough, Mass.
And since they got hot, the Texans have been wrecking everybody. When you take a look at the final score, they wrecked the Steelers. They wrecked the Bills earlier this year. And then and look who's next. I hope that I'm going to say something that I never say. I hope the Patriots win, because you've never heard me say that, because I'd much rather have the Bills play the Patriots than have the Bills play the Texans.
Well, you talked about the Steelers getting obliterated. That'll be the end of the podcast in about 5 minutes, teasing ahead on a podcast. Wow, okay. That's new. We'll talk about how Mike Tomlin could kick someone off the Fox lot if he wants one of their jobs in a moment. Final game, we'll go the nightcap. Rams and Bears. What's insane about this game, that'll be 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern, which is 5:30 in Chicago, whatever time it's going to be. The wind and the snow that was blowing 2 days ago. I don't have the exact weather report, but it is brutal. It is brutal. And I don't think the warm weather Rams have experienced anything like this. They played in rain. They played in a little bit of weather in Carolina here or there, and not that the Bears are going to be great in a snowstorm. But wow, I think the Rams a month ago, the Rams were the number 1 seed and best team in all of football. It was the Rams and everyone else. Now the Rams are fighting for their life, Tom, on the road at Soldier Field in really uncomfortable conditions as they parked this game, the last game, and they turned it into a night game for television ratings. How do you see it?
Well, the tough thing is, and Brett Favre, his final year with the Green Bay Packers, would have gone to the Super Bowl, but they parked the Packers Giants at night for TV reasons. It was the coldest game ever played in the history of the NFL. colder than the Ice Bowl in the famous Packers-Cowboys game. And old Brett Favre couldn't play in that cold. And Eli Manning and the Giants beat them and went out of the Super Bowl. So when they park these games at night, it's a game changer for the older guy. So Matthew Stafford's in his old bones, even though he's an NFL MVP candidate, is going to have a tough time in this cold weather. And Caleb Williams is from the Baltimore, Washington area, so he's played in cold weather a lot before. Never this cold, but he's played in cold weather before. Yeah. People picture the Southern California sunshine or the sunshine of Oklahoma with his big boy career. But he's played in cold weather more than Matthew Stafford, most likely. Well, maybe Stafford play. But anyway, right now this is based on age. I'm going with the and I love Caleb Williams. Saw him playing college. Saw him playing college live. I love my running quarterbacks. And so I think the Chicago Bears are one of those electric teams this year. I don't know if they go all the way to the Super Bowl, but they win this game because of the weather. Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, will they have to do it with fourth quarter magic? Well, got more than one team that started. We got the Denver Broncos that start slow and the Bills that start slow and Chicago Bears as well. But whether it's come from behind or not, Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears 24 and the Los Angeles Rams 17. Bears win it outright, even though they're getting points.
Wow. Looney is just going upset city. Someone in the live feed, Robert Hart, 1945, says, Tom Looney is seriously fit. What's your secret, Tom? Nutrition, fitness book, or podcast would be huge. Wow. We will do a Looney fitness podcast in the new year.
Okay, sure. Yes. Just, go with the Jack LaLanne there. Jack LaLanne was on black and white TV back in the day, long before our time, JT. And he said, if man made it, don't eat it. In other words, God didn't make Cheetos. He made chicken. Eat some chicken. Forget the Cheetos.
God, I'm down 7 pounds in the new year, and I don't get any love from Robert. Well, so it's a rough one, but I got a longer way to go. So I'm going to go. My gut tells me the Rams are going to win this game. I think the Rams are clearly the better team. I mean, give me a break. If they played this game 100 times, the Rams would win at 92. But they're playing in Chicago. The Chicago Bears, there's no Ram fans. You think a Ram fan is getting on a plane in Los Angeles and flying into the snowstorm and getting a hotel room and walking in with a Rams jersey? There ain't no Ram fans, unlike Seattle, where there's going to be Niner fans everywhere in that building. The Rams are the better team. I think the weather, I think the fact that Stafford's good. Devontae's coming out of a little bit of a slump, being injured. They got Puka. They got Verse on defense. They're a better team.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go Bears 23-21. I got the Bears on a late Swift touchdown coming from behind, another fourth quarter. I got the Bears winning this game. My family, my wife's family back in Illinois, they're cooking out today. They got everything cooking. They're already pre-preparing for tomorrow. They're ready to go. Bears win a tight one, Tom, at home.
Yeah, and I think it was 35, 45, or 55 degrees in Chicago. This would be a high-scoring game because both of these teams are going to have a little trouble on defense. But it's if it gets into the 20s, we'll probably be lucky if the weather stays the way it is now with the wind blowing and it being so cold in Chicago. And the swirling winds in the windy city. It's going to be a tough game for all involved because it doesn't matter if the Chicago players live in Chicago. It's cold for both teams.
Adam Schefter, more about the Sam Darnold oblique injury. So it looks like he's going to try to give it a go here. The Broncos, again, no breaking news here. A lot of interviews going down. Chris Shula, Don Shula's grandson, interviewed with the Ravens. By the way, the Ravens is the best job to have because they have Lamar Jackson and they're a playoff team already. They're a playoff team, so that's the best job. As we record the live stream podcast, John Harbaugh hasn't dotted the I's and crossed the T's. I'll tell you why, because he walked in the room and Joe Shane was there, the Giants GM. And he's like, I ain't working for him. What are you talking about? I'm John Harbaugh. I ain't working for Joe Shane. So they're trying to play nice and put some things in there because they're going to fire Joe Shane. And then there are 8 other vacancies. And assuming, Tom, John Harbaugh stays with the Big Blue, 8 vacancies. As I said in the NBA, we've officially run out of coaches. We don't have enough coaches now for head coaching jobs. We're trying to rip quarterback coaches and offensive coordinators you never heard of under the age of 40 and crowning them as because we've run out of coaches. There are none left.
Well, here's where I'll dovetail that from. I understand your that's why you're so good at this is because your opinions cut right through. They're out there. It's just the idiots don't know who to hire. And the diamonds in the rough. Mike Tomlin, I think, ended up with that job. You sit down with Mike Tomlin, you hear Mike Tomlin talk. Mike Tomlin's a good talker, and he's going to get a job with the NFL, with broadcasting if he wants one. Oh. And supposedly, I remember this story going back in the hot tub time machine. If I'm not mistaken, they interviewed him because of the Rooney Rule, and he walked in the room and sat down and blew everyone away and said, "Oh my God, we've got our guy." So they gave him a courtesy interview and ended up changing his and everyone's life and bringing them Super Bowls and great winning seasons year in and year out. So the diamonds in the rough sometimes aren't the guys. John Harbaugh was a special teams coach. So you find them. A lot of times they go looking for a Shula and et cetera, for someone with a catchy, shiny last name like Shula. And not that he hasn't done the work from everything I've heard. He was made to work harder at times with the Rams. Maybe because of that last name or because he was green at the time and they just didn't promote him right away. They made him work hard for his jobs with the Rams. So I do think that the diamonds in the rough are out there, just like when it comes to drafting quarterbacks. Drafting players in general. If you look 3 years ago at the draft, how many people whiffed? No, it's just as coaches don't know what players to draft and owners and general managers don't know what coach to hire. They're out there. They just don't know what they're doing.
Well, you might be asking, why is it so sunny and bright in Las Vegas? It's because we got Fernando Mendoza. I hate to break it to you. We got him. And we got Fernando Mendoza. He's our quarterback. He's a great young man. Let's knock on wood that he's healthy. I don't care if he beats Miami or not. If he does, it's the greatest season in the history of college football. It is. It's the greatest season ever. It surpasses the Hurricanes and Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. Are we making Indiana work for this national championship or what? We're going to make them play.
They have to play.
Jesus.
So Fernando coming to the Raiders, which is why, for those who've been asking me, who do you think the Raiders are going to hire? No one knows because none of us know Tom Brady. None of us know Tom Brady other than Mark Davis and his former teammates. We don't know who Tom Brady's going to hire, and he's going to hire the guy. Today is an interesting day. Tom Brady is on the broadcast, and Tom Brady is going to look at Clint Kubiak, okay? The son of Gary Kubiak, who's the play caller. That would be my choice. Young play caller, pair him with Mendoza, guy by the name of Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. Young. Let that be the vision. He's not a big talker. He's not going to own the press conference. We tried that with the Raiders. Pete Carroll, Antonio Pierce, going down the list. Just get the right guy. And that's what every team's looking for. Who is the right guy? I think young offensive play caller with young dream quarterback in Mendoza. I'll go Kubiak, or maybe it's one of these Shanahans. There's a couple of Kubiaks. Everybody out there's in the Shanahan, Sean McVay tree. Take anybody you want as the coach, but make sure they come from the Shanahan, or the Sean McVay's in that tree. He's in a bunch of different cool trees. Or take someone that came from the Rams or the 49ers or the Seahawks and make him their head coach on offense.
It sounds like you described as the next coach of the Raiders, someone maybe like Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore, man. Raider fans, they'll hunt me down, man. Raider fans never gave Josh McDaniels a chance. It's a dirty little secret. They never gave him a chance. They hated him because of the Tuck rule. Josh McDaniels, Tom Brady's the owner of the Raiders now. He's not a consultant. Tom Brady's not a consultant. He's an owner, and he's got a big piece of the team. And he's going to make this decision because Mark Davis, my friend, Mark Davis is like, no, you guys. John Spytek, no, Tom Brady, you're going to do this, and you're going to get it right. Because Mark's writing checks for former coaches, still writing checks for Gruden, Pierce, Pete Carroll, McDaniels. They got to get this right. I want to wrap it up with Tomlin's TV job.
Okay.
This is a great topic. This is right up your alley because we both like being pretend media critics because we're better than the current media critics. Oh my God, you see the media critics now that have the hoodies on in their basements and they tell you that Romo sucks. Oh, Romo's making 18 million and a guy with a hoodie in his basement as his wife's cooking mac and cheese is like, Romo's losing his fastball. You assholes. Romo's not losing his fastball. Romo's freaking great and everybody's sitting on every word he says.
Romo's great. Collinsworth is great. Al Michaels is just fine. It's just, the guys with the hoodies in the basement are being bitches.
They are. They are really being
it's just
weirdos.
Internet is high school. It's not. Usually you get out of high school, you have to get over the fact you didn't like it, that you weren't popular. No, now you get to make fun of the Justin Biebers of your high school for the rest of your life by going after famous people on television, etc., or going after movie stars or politicians or whatever. You just get online, sit in your basement, and read your feed of ugly stuff because you're thinking ugly, and then you say ugly stuff. It's that part of the internet I do not like. There's plenty of parts that I do.
That's why I went outside today. I didn't want anybody to think I was in my basement. I grew up in a basement in New York. We don't have basements in Vegas. We have outdoor sliding doors and pools and all this stuff. So the Tomlin gig, which is really cool, right up your alley. So there's three options. Okay. It is ABC, ESPN. It is NBC. The number one show on television isn't America's Got Talent or Dancing with the Stars. It's Sunday Night Football. It's the number one show. Do you know who they have in the studio? You won't believe it. Jason Garrett, one of the McCourty twins. You don't even know their name. Chris Sims, who I like. Mike Florio is the insider.
Yep.
So they have the biggest budget because they have the biggest TV show, home of the Olympics, by the way. Then you have CBS. So I'm going to start with CBS. That's the natural fit for Tomlin. Matt Ryan's leaving to be the president of the Falcons. You cannot have Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin on the same set. You cannot. So you have to fire. You can't. James Brown can't open up the show, Tom, on Sunday saying, "Welcome to the NFL on CBS. I'm James Brown, and here's Nate Burleson and two Steeler coaches."
Right.
No freaking shot. So if you fire Cowher, who's never said anything important, Bill Cowher got into the Hall of Fame before Tom Flores. Tom Flores came out in a wheelchair at the Hall of Fame. Bill Cowher was in the Hall of Fame already. What a joke. So you have to remove Cowher to hire Tomlin. I don't know if they'll do that. So I think CBS is out. Then we move to Fox. Oh, I've been waiting all freaking day for this one. Okay, I'm going to be careful here because we have friends who work on that show.
Yeah.
And Howie Long Jr. Howie Jr. is a good friend of mine. So we never touch Howie. Howie's on that set. Everybody on that Fox set is ready to be brought out to pasture and retire nicely, other than Jay Glazer and Kirk Menefee, who wrote the foreword to my book, The Handoff. So I got to give him. But when you go Terry Strahan, who graces us with his presence from Good Morning America, and they put Gronk on TV. Have you watched this Gronk? You wouldn't remove Gronk's ass and say, "Gronk, you're out. We're bringing in Mike Tomlin."
Well, yeah, but Gronk is fun. And that's why they have him there. And the reason why I think I like Gronk, at least for the fun element, is because for so many years, Terry and Howie and Jimmy, when he was there, they would push the fun. In other words, a little too much pushing of the fun. Gronk is actually natural fun. Is Mike Tomlin a more articulate man than Gronk? Yes, he's a better speaker than Gronk. Boy, does his voice sound great in that Neumann microphone that he used to use. We loved his sound bites on Sunday nights when we had a show together. Mike Tomlin will fit in on any one of the shows you mentioned. I don't want to fire people. And, and the internet guys with the hoodies have been really ageist with Terry for quite a long time online. People, if you take a look at people who are doing what they want to do for a living, they live a long time. Terry's going to live a long time. So if you don't like Terry, get over it. He'll be there. They're very loyal. He gets along with people. He shows up well bathed on time, gets along with people he works with. So you're right. And so that's part of keeping your job in life too. Shout out to Eric Shanks, the top muckety muck at Fox, this is why I'm being careful, who was my segment producer at the Best Damn Sports Show, period, back in the day. So,
Mm.
so so now I have friends that work on those shows. I've got friends that run that network, and but Mike Tomlin's going to be good wherever he goes, and
Yeah, he is.
you can tell I'm not completely taking a stand because I don't want to fire anybody over at Fox or CBS. But like you're saying, the natural fit is with Matt Ryan leaving, bring Mike Tomlin in. I forgot about the fact that would mean two Pittsburgh Steelers coaches.
Yeah, can't do that. Well, another good example would be John Madden. When John Madden retired, he coached for one team. He had the best winning percentage when he left. First, the best winning percentage with a coach with 100 wins. He went to work, and I believe it was CBS, and he was working with Vin Scully, and they were putting him in with everybody, and it wasn't working. You've seen the documentaries. They're making a movie about it starring Nicolas Cage and Christian Bale, playing Al Davis, Christian Bale. Can't wait. Madden turned out to be the number one television analyst of all time. No debate. They have a holiday named after him now. It used to be called Thanksgiving. Now it's John Madden Day, where all the networks come together and praise John Madden because he worked at NBC, Fox, and CBS, which is really cool. So Tomlin, if he went down that road, could be great as a lead analyst, but CBS has Romo, J.J. Watt, NBC has Collinsworth, Fox has Brady. Greg Olson was kicked to the second team. He's really good, Greg Olson. So Tomlin would have to be on your second or third team with no experience. So I don't think he does games.
Well, here's another thing too, though. It's better to put somebody on second or third team their first year to find out if they're good. Yeah. And and they have to. It's just like talk shows don't grow on trees. The pairing is important. And as you found out with John Madden and with Terry Bradshaw over the years, they had Terry Bradshaw doing color commentary on games for years, and they had him doing studio shows at CBS. But really, when he landed at Fox, he found his home. And sometimes it's the first place you land in broadcasting is just like in sports. The first team you play for, you're not always at your best because you got drafted by a team that stinks. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times in broadcasting, maybe if you're coming in and being hired for the wrong reason because you're famous from another profession, which Tomlin would be entering broadcasting, he's not a broadcaster. You got to find out if he's good first. Good press conferences, like Mike Singletary, doesn't mean you always are a good broadcaster. So no matter where they put him, they have to see if he's good first before they put him somewhere else.
So if you listen to the 50 plus minutes of this podcast, this stream, you can tell that it's better. It's a better podcast than some of the ones that are now on Netflix. They have now podcast on Netflix. Ours is better. We've been doing this longer. We're just better. We know what we're doing, and it's not produced by Netflix or someone else. Number two, I've been dying to tell you this. I watched the Golden Globes because I love movies. Mm-hmm. Love movies. So I watched the Golden Globes and people complain about politics and we're talking about Minneapolis. And I get it. It's hard to watch when people are preaching their politics, but I can get over that. They had a category, Best Podcast. I almost fell out of my chair. So it included Smart List with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes, which I listen to. And they interrupt each other all the time. And it's so much small talk, but they're pretty good. Not better than us. You know who won the best podcast at the Golden Globes? Are you ready for this?
Oh, no, I don't want to know. Who?
Amy Poehler. Oh. Amy Poehler, who's divorced from Will Arnett. Hollywood fun fact. Not a lot of people know that. Will Arnett, who's in a great stand-up comedy movie now, which I can't wait to see. He's divorced from her. She won the best podcast over the other podcasts. I think there were 5 or 6 of them. So my point is, we need to take this stream and podcast to the next level because it's better than the other ones. So help us out by hitting like and subscribe, share it with other people so we could have what we want to do on the next level, which is maybe a little bit more tech support, a little bit more studio support, because we are not going to give up this podcast. We do well with it. It's okay. I got a couple other ventures. Looney's got 50 ventures. He's auditioning for acting roles and everything, but keep your boys alive by hitting like and subscribe and share this with other people.